But your husband has the final say, has the final decision.
Excuse me for being a bit rude here. What if he's a idiot?
You are not just serving any other person, but you are serving your Lord. You are serving your King.
Treat him like a king. Let me give it my best go. Prithee, my lord. Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. I'm ill. Yeah! No, sorry, not that kind. The other kind. The kind where I spend all my time trying really hard not to cough. But don't worry. I've got a plan. I'm gonna make you ill too. Welcome to YouTube 2023, where people are still making videos about how to be a biblically submissive wife. At time of recording is my partner's birthday. It's Matt's birthday. Please tell Matt happy birthday in the comments. Maybe I will learn something. Maybe I will get some tips for when I see him later. This is the one day a year I'm legally obligated to be nice to him. All the religious people that believe in submissive wives are going to be watching this, like, taking every joke I say deadly seriously, like, that's why she'd make a shit wife. Okay, listen. Okay, I know what the Bible says about being a submissive wife. I know what the Bible says about a few old things. I've got my Bible right here. I'm ready to dive in. God, I sound like shit. It doesn't matter. I'll make up for being disgusting by being the ideal submissive girlfriend, I guess. I hear lots of things still about how being a submissive wife is not about being controlled. It's actually all about love and blah blah blah. So maybe we will learn something today. Charisma Tancredi, citation needed on her the pronunciation of her name. She's here to explain how to be a submissive wife to your husband for us, so maybe we will learn something. You know what husbands really love? A delicious, tasty cereal. Good segue, me. I'm ill. Today's video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I love my Magic Spoon cereal. It is like the fun, tasty cereal you remember from childhood, but all grown up like. It suits all your grown up lifestyle needs. It is keto friendly, high protein, gluten free, grain free, soy free, wheat free. The cereal contains 0 grams of sugar. More protein, less sugar, still super tasty. Tastier, actually, than the cereal I had as a kid. We didn't get all your American cereals with your little pieces of marshmallow or whatever nonsense you get over there. You crazy kids. Magic Spoon cereal has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 4 to 5 grams of net carbs in each serving. It is 40 calories per serving. The Magic Spoon treats have 1 gram of sugar, a single gram, 11 grams of protein, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs in each serving. They are 130 calories per serving and very high in fibre. Click on the link below or scan the QR code to get your own magic cereal. Magic cereal? Disclaimer, does not give you magic powers. It's just cereal, but it's really nice cereal. Get your own Magic Spoon cereal today. QR code, link down below. You can build your very own custom box with your favourite flavours. Use my code EmmaThorne for $5 off. You can choose from the best-selling flavours. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Cocoa, fruity, frosted, my personal favourite. Peanut butter, maple waffle, plus some of the other awesome flavours like honey nut, blueberry muffin. Blueberry muffin is one of my favourite flavours of thing in the world, by the way. Birthday cake, cinnamon roll, chocolate chip cookie. You can also add the marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter cereal treats to your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, they have a 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money. No questions asked. So click the link below, scan the QR code, use code EmmaThorne for $5 off. Go to magicspoon.com/EmmaThorne to save $5 off your order today. My fellow Brits and my Canadian friends, Magic Spoon does ship to us. We are not left out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Onward to biblical submission. I'm gonna blow my nose, fill up my coffee, put on my headphones, and let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Biblically submissive women! Let's go! Charisma is going to tell us how to be a submissive wife to our we share a husband.
How to be a submissive wife to your husband. Submission is not self-doubt. nor is it self-abasement, helplessness, or easily controlled and degrading. Submission is a God-driven desire to please your husband as a wife.
This is the beauty, isn't it, of the internet, and especially evangelizing on the internet. Oh my God, I sound about 80 fucking years old. I sound like I've been smoking 40 a day for 60 of my 80 years. The beauty of evangelizing on the internet is you can say anything. You can say whatever you want, even if it completely contradicts the points you make, which, okay, I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking that's not, at the very least, the thing that I am not sure on is it doesn't mean being easily controlled. Because isn't that what submission is? Allowing yourself to be controlled? Speaking of which, what that makes me think of is the fact that because my recommended list and my other recommended videos are now loads of ways to submit to your husband, do wives have to be submissive? That's like 50% of my recommended list right now. The other 50% is how to be a good submissive according to the BDSM community. I just think it's great that those two go hand in hand. Maybe the two communities can influence each other in some kind of fun way. Let me just look up the definition of submissive as a word, just so we know what we're talking about here. Ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive. And the example they give is a submissive, almost sheep-like people. That sounds like easily controlled. Kind of sounds a little bit like that. So this is the whole, like, it's actually about love and good shit. And I'm just going to grab my Bible for a second, because I think the origin, and we'll see if you agree with me once I've read this to you. So mostly the whole submissive wife thing, most people tend to quote Ephesians, be submissive to your husband as you are submissive to the Lord, is the whole, that bit. But the Bible says loads of shit about submission here, there, and everywhere. The earliest, in my opinion, mention of submission goes all the way back to Genesis. Adam and Eve have just snuck a bite of the apple. Right, we're in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve, very naughty. God is pissed off and telling them off. That's the context for this part. To the woman he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. There you go. The origin of being biblically submissive to your husband is actually a punishment from God for original sin. No, it's all loving. It's really nice. It's a blessing from God. Yeah.
Submission says, I have willingly deployed myself to be of service to you. Ephesians 5:22 commands.
I told you. She's gone straight to Ephesians. Already, me and Charisma disagree on what it means to be a submissive wife, but I'm sure she's got the tips on how to action it, which is the important part.
To submit to their husband as to the Lord. Number 1, serve your husband in a kingwood standard. Understanding that you are not just serving any other person, but you are serving your Lord. You are serving your King. How you serve him, how you treat him, how you respond to him, it's very much important for you to pay attention to those little things.
King shit. Okay, treat him like a king. Let me give it my best go. Prithee, my lord, methinks mine paramour might enjoy this leg of boar. Wouldst thou care to behead a jester on this fine eve? Number 1, done. Treat him like a king. Do you know what's funny is I'm recording this immediately after the 5th of November, which I know most of you are in the US and possibly not so familiar with our British history, but that was the date in 1605 that the gunpowder plot was rumbled. Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. This was the plot wherein some Catholics were attempting to assassinate the Protestant king. I don't know, there's just something funny for me. I'm too ill to come up with a funny link between those things, but there is one there, right? It doesn't say who you are in relation to the king, I'm assuming they mean, it's that hashtag king and queen thing, where you get matching towels and one of them says queen and one of them says king, and we all cringe and die. No, it's fine. If you're into that, it's fine. It's lovely. I'm sure it's very sweet. But if you're not into that, it is very cringe. I'm sorry. But I like to imagine that in this scenario, we're not married, but my husband, my boyfriend, is the king, and I am the court jester here to mock his enemies for his amusement and jingle a little bell and dance around.
Number 2, make your home haven, a place where he can decompress. Many are times when men are looking for peace, for comfort, and a home is a place to find all those things. So as a wife, make sure that your home is haven.
Doing a pretty shit job on that one, if I'm being honest right now. Again, so much of this makes perfect sense for an ancient patriarchal society, right? In a society where the men worked and the women didn't, and the rules were written by men, it made perfect sense to say, right, wives, you're at home all day, make the house nice for your husbands. It just doesn't translate to modern living. I hammer on about this all the time when we talk about biblical values and how women should be and how men should be and blah, 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 heteronormative Christianity. Most people nowadays, whatever they want, whatever they believe, however they want to live their lives, their romantic lives, most people can't afford to live on a single income anymore. So typically, if you've got a husband and wife, typically now both of them are working because we can't afford to do otherwise. To impose the same rule, to expect the wife to do all of the maintaining of the home and keeping everything nice and tidy doesn't make sense because she ain't got that fucking time that her husband doesn't have. This is the thing about relationships, right? When you talk about, division of labour and stuff like that and equality, there's an in-between, right? You've got this, biblical submission where it's man does this, woman does this. These are simply the roles and the rules arbitrarily decided by committee of men. Whatever. And then on the flip side, you've got absolute equality. We each do 50% of everything. I wash one plate, you wash one plate. In the middle is reality, right? Division of labour is about playing to your strengths, what you enjoy, and the time you have, and the energy you have. Again, this method of dividing labour makes perfect sense in a specific context. If you are in a very traditional heteronormative relationship where you've got a woman who is a homemaker, a stay-at-home wife, and you've got a man who has a very physically demanding job with long hours, it makes perfect sense to divide the labour by, well, the husband's not going to have very much energy when he gets home. It makes sense for the wife to do the majority of the cooking, for example. But in the modern day, that's just not how things work. One of you might be really shit at something. Maybe one of you, and there's extreme examples of this, maybe one of you is shit at finances, and the other one is a financial advisor. It would be crazy to say, well, the financial advisor is the woman, so the husband has to do all of those things, has to make all of those decisions. That would be completely insane because you're playing to your weaknesses where you could be saving time and energy playing to your strengths. It's just silly. There's no reason for gender to play into it. It might happen that what you and your partner enjoy coincides with traditional gender roles, and you have a stay-at-home wife who likes doing the housework and whatever, and you have a husband who works long hours and makes good money and comes home and is tired and loves to have the food ready for him, but at the weekend he's working on the car and putting up a shelf. It might just happen like that, and that's great too. But to divide it specifically by gender roles just doesn't make any sense. The chances of that working out and both people being happy and equal and having the division of labour be equal per, the energy and time that people have, you're going to be very lucky for that to work out. Otherwise, you've just got people doing stuff that they're not that good at, but they feel that they should do. You know what I'm getting at, right? It's silly. Silly. Anyway, king shit, make your house nice. Done. What's next, charisma?
Number 3, listen, pray, respond. When you listen, you pay attention to the words of your husband. When you pray, you meditate.
To be fair, a lot of the time, and we both do this, we're both guilty of this, when me and Matt, especially if we're like tired or whatever, when we're talking to each other, a lot of the time the other person can be like, so, fair enough. Listen to the words your partner is saying. So, I have real trouble focusing on more than one thing at a time, especially if there's like, I want to say like audibly. If there's like I can't do crosstalk. If like the TV is on and people are speaking and Matt's trying to talk to me at the same time, I can't. I have to say, I'm really sorry. Can you pause or mute that or wait? Because I cannot. My brain can't hold those two things at once. I won't be able to listen to you. So sometimes I will just be, like, I'll sort of look at him and I'll be like, I'm really sorry. I didn't listen to any of that. Can you say it again? And I think that is just part of being a flawed human being. And on the flip side, it helps to be a little bit understanding of that too.
Meditate on the instructions following his words. When you respond, you then discuss what is to be carried out based on what he was talking.
This just presents conversations between a husband and wife as a husband giving instructions to his wife. And that's like it. It's like when you're talking, it's him telling you to do something, and then you have a conversation about how you're going to do that thing for him. Oh, it's fucking tragic.
Talking to you about. Many a times as women, we want to do the opposite. We want to respond, to pray, and to listen. But as a submissive wife...
Typical contrary women. We always want to do the opposite of what we're supposed to do. Even though it's supposed to be built into our very nature by God. We, for some reason, want, instinctively, to do the opposite. Crazy.
Wife, it's important for you to understand that when you listen first, it enables you to be able to meditate, to be able to respond in a positive way. Number 4,
all right.
Let him protect you. It is the duty of a husband to protect a wife. Give him that space. Give him that freedom to be your protector. Number 5.
Oh, that was it. I could have done with some examples. Like, in what situation? So, okay, here's another contradictory example from my own life. I gotta blow my nose, I'm sorry. In my relationship, my partner, Matt, bless his little cotton socks, he's a little bit arachnophobic. So, when there's a spider about, I tend to take on the role of the protector. Although if I don't do a perfect job and a spider ends up on the floor or something, I am accused of conspiring with the spider. So, we got our own relationship problems. What does it mean to give him the space to protect you? Should you be, going out of your way to be in danger? To put yourself in danger? What does that mean? Do you, forget to put on oven gloves so that your husband can protect you from burning yourself by being like, oh, you need oven gloves? What does this mean practically? How is that? What is this advice? Let someone protect you. I don't get that piece of advice at all. We didn't get any explanation for that one, so question marks.
5. It is good to give your thoughts, your opinions, but it is better to understand and to learn that your husband has the final say, has the final decision. Submission is not self-doubt or easily controlled. Your husband has the final say.
Submission doesn't mean being easily controlled. It just means letting your husband make all of the decisions. Excuse me for being a bit rude here. What if he's a fucking idiot? I don't mean that in a negative way necessarily. Some of the nicest, best people in the world are complete morons. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier about what if one of you is just far more knowledgeable or educated or skilled in a certain subject. We've talked about this before with these gender roles where it's talking about deferring to your husband on all things. What if the wife is a Bible scholar and far more learned and a minister, and the husband doesn't know any of that? It just seems crazy to then defer to him on questions of faith. It just doesn't make sense unless you go back to an ancient times where only the men got an education and only the men knew things and only the men worked and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense in the modern day. Much of the Bible and as a whole doesn't make sense in the modern day. It's crazy in 2023 to cling on to the idea that, well, part of being a good biblical wife is letting your husband have the final say over everything. What if he's a complete arsehole? And the things that he says aren't, because we've had this discussion before and it's like, oh, if it's not biblical, then it's whatever. But what if he's just like a bit of an arsehole and it's not strictly like, he's not telling you to do like criminal things, but the things he's doing are like, oh, this is probably going to slowly ruin our reputation and our friendships and blah, blah, blah. But I've got to defer to him. I can tell him my opinions that he's a fucking moron, but I've got to do what he says anyway. So, and of course, the obvious unspoken thing here is this just lends itself to abuse, control. It is about being easily controlled when you allow your husband to have the final say on everything you do. Two people going into that with the best of intentions can end up in an abusive, controlling relationship because that is the nature of this idea of submission and submitting to his will in all circumstances. Like, of course. It's just sad. I think it's really sad because people listen to this and they think, wow, yeah, it's beautiful. Being a submissive wife is beautiful. It's godly. It's technically it's a punishment from God, but we love God so much and he's all loving. Horrible punishments aside, gave us contradictory opinions but being beholden to our husbands in the same breath as he gave us pain during childbirth. But he loves us unequivocally. And people are gonna engage in controlling relations. There's no way you can be in this kind of relationship without it being controlling, where you and your husband have the understanding that they have the final say over everything. There's no way that isn't going to be controlling. Go on then, Charisma, finish up. I'm not impressed.
Number 6, make efforts to take care of yourself, spiritually, physically, emotionally, understanding that you are not just any other person, but you are your husband's soundboard. You are your family's soundboard. You are the emotional sponge for your entire family. You have to keep yourself, as well as everything else you have to do, whatever your husband says, maintaining the home all of the time, doing all the cooking and cleaning and all that bollocks, looking after the children, blah, 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 all of that. As well as all of that, you have to keep yourself perfectly, physically, emotionally, and spiritually stable at all times because you are responsible for the emotional well-being of everyone else in the family. This is why housewives in the 60s were all fucking addicted to Valium. Because you can't, it's just not possible to be that person all the time. Sometimes your brain chemistry goes wrong and you can't help it. Sometimes you get sick. Like, look after yourself physically as best you can. Sometimes you are just ill and you can't help it because that's the nature of a virus, you know? You can't always be the pillar of the household, looking after everybody, responsible for everybody else's well-being. Sometimes you need to be looked after. The very first thing Charisma said regarding this taking care of yourself is you are not just your own person, you are your husband's soundboard. Like, you need to be absolutely in a perfect state of mind all the time so that your husband can rattle off his important ideas to you. Like, that's what you are. You're second fiddle. You're like an extension of your husband, of your family. You're not your own person. It's fucking shit, mate. A system that needs operations to function. So as a wife, take time. Take time to make sure...
What time? What if you ain't got any time because you're doing all this shit for your husband all the time? Where are you getting this time from?
That you are always, at most times, in a good standard. You look good, you smell good, emotionally you are stable.
It's also important that you fucking smell and look good at all times. This is so 1950s, I want to, like, cry laugh. It is so important for the well-being of your family, guys, ladies, that... Oh, Jesus. I'm the perfect example of, like, failing at being a submissive wife, I guess. Because I don't fucking look, probably smell like I'm not physically the ideal wife right now. You gotta fucking look and smell good. This is why, like, women in the olden days used to get up fucking 3 hours early so they could make sure they had their makeup and their hair pristine before their husbands ever woke up. Because they can't ever see you looking less than fucking pristine. Make sure you... It's as important to be spiritually and emotionally stable as it is to smell good. This has destroyed me.
Spiritually, you are growing yourself so that it's easy for you to be that soundboard that your husband will need at all.
You're your husband's assistant. That is your primary responsibility, your lot in life. You have to be at your very best so that you can assist your husband in being a real person.
All times.
But that's it. That ended with an abruptness that I didn't expect. Okay. I mean, there's a million problems with this. We've explained most of them. The other thing that I don't think we've covered yet is that this kind of content, because it is so heteronormative, it begs the question, what do two men in a relationship do? Are two men in a relationship butting heads like stags constantly because they're both trying to impose their will on the other, and neither of them can stand down because biblically that is just not who they are? Did two women in a relationship just go round in circles trying to submit to each other, no decisions ever being made because, oh, sorry, no, you choose. Oh, no, you choose. Oh, God, I don't. Oh, well, no, you should choose because I need to submit to your will. And no, I need to submit to your will. I can only assume non-binary people in any kind of relationship have superpowers. There you go. Thanks, Charisma. That's how to be a submissive wife to your husband. Treat him like a king. Again, we assume this involves dancing around with little bells on and going, "Prithee, my lord, wouldst thou have another cup of ale?" Treat him like a king. Let him have the final word. I've even forgotten some of them. Let him have the final word. Smell good. There were 6. I can only think of 3. Do we blame Charisma or do we blame my being unwell? Probably my being unwell. There you go. Leave your thoughts down below. Say happy birthday to Matt. It's his birthday. I'll do my best to treat him like a king. I'm going to try and get him some Battenberg because that's his favourite cakey snack. He doesn't really do cake, but he loves Battenberg, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Do give this video a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. There's so many more videos on the channel. So many more. Consider having a look over at Emma Thorne backstage. I've got so many videos recorded that I need to edit and put up there. There's so much. You don't even understand. It just hit 5,000 subscribers. Isn't that nice? If you're not sick to death of me and you like gaming content, or you just like my voice, my normal voice, not fucking whatever this is, consider checking out Little Duck Gaming. I also stream live on Twitch at Emma Little Duck. It's a good place to say hi live. If you do like this channel and you want to support what I do, you can become a channel member today or tomorrow or never. I don't really mind. You get some silly emotes and comment priority. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon. You get exclusive videos, posts, early merch design and discounts and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff to catch up on over there if you're interested. With that, I must give a big old thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Thank you so much again for watching. Have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.